Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome to Fantasy Forecast for Thursday, December 8th, 2016. I would not ashamed to admit that it was a horrible loss for me last night. It was a really bad landing at the bottom, and last minute news, I thought that maybe Carmelo Anthony would get a bump in usage. I didn't even get a chance to run that play. I've been talking to other people, and I need to make a new kind of rule that I need to focus on the last 15 minutes of changes so I can just send one Twitter update to everyone. So I'm going to probably stop talking just about everyone on direct messages and stuff like that in the last 15 minutes before lock, because I need to focus for everyone. It's more important for the channel at this point. These are the scores from yesterday's NBA. You can see just disgustingness all around, and I don't really want to talk about it too much because we need to focus on today's lineup instead. A loss is still a loss, so let's just move on, In terms of the fantasy scores, you can look at it, 206.5, not good enough, obviously, and not good enough at all. DraftKings, 246, too many snowflakes. Better even than FanDuel, a lot better, but still not enough. You looked closer at least. It wasn't just disgusting like it was on FanDuel. Just move on to today here. I'll do the DraftKings lineup first, and then I'll do the FanDuel lineup. I'll try to save everyone a little time today if you're just looking for a lineup. And you kind of trust that, hey, bad things happen all at once somehow, like lightning striking. Jeez, bad night. John Wall at your point guard, Barton at your shot guard, Joe Johnson at your small forward, Anthony Davis for your power forward, Pau Gasol for your center. I know, not Embiid on DraftKings, although that's different on FanDuel. Jamal Murray at your guard slot, Markieff Morris in your forward, and Ginobili for your utility slot for now. There's last minute news breaking every minute it seems, or every hour it seems like right now. So, as of this filming, that's the lineup. On FanDuel today, and we have a short 6-game slate, so it makes it a lot easier. Wall at your point guard, Mack at your point guard, Stauskas at your shooting guard, Barton at your shooting guard, Joe Johnson at your small forward, Durant at your small forward, Davis at your power forward, Markieff Morris at your power forward, Embiid for your center. Okay, so let's go ahead and go through the positions real fast for today. I can talk about the games if you want. Obviously we're going to be talking Denver and Washington, but now with all this different news that floats around, and I'll show you guys real fast, just running through the position. Hopefully FanDuel's updated it. They kind of are a little faster with that stuff. John Wall, guys, they are the worst team in the league against the point guard position. He just put up 70 points the other night, and I wasn't on him for the cash game lineup, and that you jump on that when you realize, okay, you were wrong, and you readjust your projections, and you see, there you go. It's okay. With the high scoring game aspect and with the fact that they're the worst in the league against the position, just take Wall. No problem. He's probably going to be a Wall against anyone else winning tonight if you don't find a way to fit him. So, Lillard, Curry. Lillard plays Memphis. Curry plays Utah. Everyone on Golden State is subject to the fact that they can just destroy anyone at any time, guys. They just can. What is going on there? 140 points, 150 points. They just don't care. We're just going to put it up, and try to stop us. If it's not Klay Thompson one night, it's going to be Curry one night, it's going to be Durant one night. Just go through the list. Is Draymond had his night yet? So, the rotating cast of just incredible players they have, the Dubs are going to do just fine. People don't like talking about a good thing, but, it's a good thing. Watching how well they're going to gel and do things. They didn't win last season, but they did win 2 seasons ago. So I don't know where this talk of them being crappy comes from. So, maybe because people don't like blowouts, it hurts them on fantasy. You can kind of try to take advantage of that in some ways. They're cheaper players to take if you really want to target. And that makes it more of that whole commercial aspect of any guy that any week can win. Of course, that's the whole point of tonight too, because yesterday, you lose, and it's like you can draft a new lineup tonight, and you can do better. You can learn from your mistakes. I don't like Sergio Rodriguez. I like Nelson tonight. I don't see much. Rondo's intriguing against San Antonio, actually. I take that back. I like Rondo, because 6,000 on FanDuel is a bit cheaper. I mean, any of these other guys are subject to doing something crazy, like, Frazier can get minutes if Davis gets injured, but otherwise, do you really like him? I don't. And Mudiay, I mean, it's not on my target list for tonight, obviously. You're going to find someone cheap that comes up real fast in the last minute, because that's just the way this game is going to end up going in the end. And we can tell. I mean, Exum will get the start today. I mean, with the news on Utah, Gordon Hayward was going to be an excellent play today, but he's out now. You have to be kidding me. He hurt his finger. So it's like, wow, where does the usage go? It's like, okay, great, no problem. So Exum will get the start. Does he get extra because it was really been going to Shelvin Mack later? Or do they run with, like, Joe Johnson and then go with Joe Ingles? I mean, and Joe Ingles is minimum priced here. So he's not on point guards. He's probably on shooting guards. Let's go ahead and move over to shooting guard. Is he at the bottom? Let's start over there. Why not start at the bottom today? Easy Valentine's Tires. Anyone pop out? Not yet, they don't. I mean, the Philly big man situation, you guys already know, and it's a rotating cast of guys here. Stauskas, Henderson, Hield. I mean, take a look. Even on Hollis Thompson shouting up the mix. So all of them are subject to some kind of minutes, and those are the wild card factors of DFS. If you need someone to fit in, because you look for a steady, secure on a cash game. Okay, they're going to give me 20 points, but you really want that upside of like 25, 30 points or even more just to happen. Why am I looking at Tony Allen? Sorry about that. As we go up, because I'm doing it the wrong way today. Levine, I would pass against Toronto today. Hood being out, well, you guys, the Utah situation, Hayward and Hood and everything. So, Clay, if it's a blowout, that's the biggest problem for all of it. I mean, the Golden State didn't even need to play the fourth quarter last night at all. So, and it's back-to-back, too, so, there's also that. People might be on D-Wade today. I'm not sure if that's smart on FanDuel at 7,200. I think it's too expensive. I think he is cheaper on DraftKings. You might want to consider it there. We'll get over there in a second. Let's move on to small forward. Oh, and I had Barton in there. Barton, I didn't explain as a pick, but I just think that's still too cheap for what he's paying. If you look at his performance, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's been solid for no less than 5 times value over his last 5 games. I mean, you need to do 27. You need 28.5 points, and if he hasn't hit 28.5 in the last 5, or damn near close to it, I mean, I don't know what else there is. So you can just take it and be happy. I've explained the Utah situation with Hayward out now, on top of their other injuries with Hood and there's one other, but it's escaping me at the moment. Regardless, Joe Johnson locked today. And yeah, sometimes a lock like Mirotic kills you, but other times it gives you 30 points and everyone's got it. And the thing is, Mirotic, he had 45 points a few days ago, so that's the thing with the lock. Across the industry, they turn that way. I think Wall will come off really high owned tonight too. No question about that. There isn't another clear choice of point guard. There's not. Not on FanDuel, where you're forced to get 2 of each position, period. Multi-position eligibility changes everything on DraftKings. It does make lineup building more difficult, but it also makes it more enticing. Let's see. I don't see any. Oh, well, Joe Ingles down here at the bottom. Absolutely. Because he's already. Basically, Joe Johnson was already getting good minutes, and this just solidifies it. Do you know what I mean? So Joe Johnson is like a lock because he hasn't jumped up enough on FanDuel, or on DraftKings for that matter. But Ingles now really becomes into play too. I mean, you could do a double GPP lineup with Johnson and Ingles, and wow, never know. I got KD in this one though because I prefer to spend the money on. It just makes sense for. On a cash game, you spend the money. That's the whole point, points per dollar. You use with the raw points. On GPP, you can go in a different direction. Here's your Hayward out news. Butler, GPP pick, yes, obviously, especially with all the other stuff. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to jump in on the Utah information now, too. So there'll be a little bit more chalky plays, but that doesn't matter for a cash game. You'll end up taking other people's money that don't think it matters. Wilson Chandler came up really good, and he has these flashes, and is he going to get good and not get good? The thing is, the matchup is decent here, so I mean, you can take it, but I mean, he's not going to give you 45 again, because that's more of a ceiling performance when you look at his whole game logs and you go through everything. I mean, you guys can see these drips and aberrations. It almost looks like a stock chart. That was a high point, so it will be lower this time. I mean, sometimes, yeah, they do go a touch higher, and it's just, I was wrong, and I'll happily admit sometimes when I'm wrong, but in all likelihood, he's going to go lower than 45 fantasy points. So he'd be priced higher if he was. It wasn't thought to be lower. I like Otto Porter, actually. Now's one of those times when you can start targeting his kind of ceilings, and he had a great one earlier in the season, and this is the kind of sweet matchup against Denver where you really want to play it. I mean, Denver is like the new Lakers, it's just amazing. I love playing against them. Just, in fantasy, you have to enjoy it. If you don't naturally come up with stacks of those games, it's difficult. And for a cash game, it's hard to almost stray off of that and kind of get some diversification to make sure that you're not too heavily running on one game. Otherwise, it really is a tournament lineup. Wiggins is definitely a GPP pick because he's shot dependent, but he can pull off his shots when needed, you know. Toronto isn't the best of opponents these days. I mean, they're not the top in the league. They're decent, but someone has to score. Harkless, like I said before, I mean, on these videos, he's steady Eddie. Just, if you need 26 fantasy points, take him. You'll get 26, no more, no less. Turner, Covington. Covington is mildly intriguing now at this point. I think he's a GPP pick. People won't really be thinking about it today, too. People would definitely be going on the Joe Johnson value for one of the slots no matter what. I really think Joe Johnson's going to be quite heavily owned today, and for good reason. Okay, so let's go to the power forward position. We got Draymond Green, Anthony Davis, Derek Favors. I mean, Davis is basically the big elephant in the room, right, guys? You pay $12,001 for him, and Philly's got Embiid out there, and they got what's Dario? I don't know how to say his last name. I mean, they've still got a couple big men. You know what I mean? Especially with Phil, you know, Embiid back to back is just annoying as hell. But you know, because he's in, he's out, he's in, he's out. But when he is in and he gets his 28 minutes, and on FanDuel you have to love that. So for the center position, I'm explaining that pick now. Against him, this is the thing. Davis is a really interesting character. He just is. And this is a case where we can pull up the game log on FanDuel. Look at those last 5 performances. And you can't tell me there's a better definition of almost is this safe for cash? I'm not sure. What rules do you use? Do you say in the last 3 of 4 games he's scored at least 60 points? In the last 3 of 5 games? Where's the safety measure, you know? Because it's almost like a stock in some ways if you think about it. How much and how well does he do? Because these opponents are rather varied. Memphis, OKC. Memphis is slow. OKC is like fast. Clippers, this is in the middle of their slumpy streak. And they played it slow. And Lakers, you think is a great, and it is, 75 points. Dallas, you'd think it'd be a bad matchup, and he gets 60, which is a regular floor plus, well, 12-1, that's kind of like what you want, but it's not a floor. I mean, a floor is probably 50 for Davis. Maybe, no, but it's not. You can get skunked and get 36 for paying $12,000, get a 3 times value. Or you can get 6 times. And tell me, on that night, do you not win if you don't have that 75 points in there? And yeah, it was expensive, but you had to get that 76-point performance in, didn't you? If you faded it and won, you did very well on your DFSing because that's a guaranteed 75 points. That's kind of why you take it. Like, you know, you're hoping that comes through. Now, you don't want to hope, so what you do is you kind of look at the matchup and you say, like, okay, it's against Philly, and is it good, is it not? And the thing is, Davis transcends a lot of it. He projects around, like, you know, 55, 60 points on just an average. But that's the problem. You can't really average him out. You have to look at how he's going to play against an individual person. And superstars are like that, guys. And he might not have a good surrounding cast, but guys like Westbrook and Davis, they're just superstars. That's the way it works. I like the upside, and I think you're safe for a cash flow or if you need a 50 or 60 spot in the position. And because you're going to find enough value with Joe Johnson, there's no reason not to take it today, which is why he's going to stay in the lineup. Go ahead, because I don't see the power forward position being that wonderful otherwise that guarantees you a ton of points. Draymond doesn't against a Utah opponent. Aldridge is a GPP pick. Zebo coming back now after one game under his belt is a GPP pick against Portland. I have no problem with that. Gibson against San Antonio, I would pass. Dieng against Toronto, I would pass. Ferried, I would take. That's a GPP pick for sure. Jermichael Green, I would pass against Portland. I know it's a better, but I don't like that one. Ilyasova, he's not going to give us a 50-point again. That was like a once-in-a-season performance, guys. It was just great that I picked him. So I would be looking away a little bit from that because it's almost point chasing. Jokic, I don't know. Dario, possibly. I mean, you have to wonder about the entire game with Philly. I mean, the situation is still the same. They're still a bit hurting. So I think one of them's come back, but Covington. So Holmes isn't really in play today after Embiid coming back. That's the reason between the back and forth switch on that. So Embiid should pick up more of those minutes and kind of directly pull them from Holmes. I think that's about it. Let's go ahead and run through the center position real fast, guys. All right, center today. Towns is your big expensive pick, obviously. No, I would pass when you can go for gasoline. To be quite honest, on FanDuel here, if you want to get some separation, you can take Marc Gasol against Portland, which seems to be an okay, like, if he's been giving you enough points, raw points to pull something off, and if he gets one of those ceiling performances today, then it's going to come down to boards, but if he does, then you're wonderful. Gobert against Golden State, he'd have to have a great performance. It's real risky. Embiid is just a lock almost on FanDuel because the price still hasn't caught up to what he does. On DraftKings, he has. On DraftKings, it's $7,500. So, Gortat. I would look at Gortat today against Washington or against Denver. Yeah, because it's one of the games you want to target today. And you know, honestly, I don't see much else at the center position. All right, so that's going to do it today. That should pretty much take care of that. Oh, and there's my timer. Wonderful. Okay, that's going to do it for Fantasy Forecast for December 7th, 2016. I hope you guys all had a wonderful night, regardless of losing horribly. I mean, let's just wash that off and move on to a new day, because that's what I did, and it's reason for bankroll management. You know, you have to play it safe with what you play and make sure that, for me, it's always like a scratcher ticket, and I win a few dollars extra than a scratcher ticket tonight. I lost 25s instead of 20, which is my normal play amount. So just jump back on in today, and because we'd won the night before cash, you know, it's not like you're still okay, you know. I like 27 cents to play with now because I'd gone a little heavy on the last one, and I'm just going to play a normal amount for cash, and actually will be forced to make a deposit tomorrow but I'll just put in a normal amount that would cover me for 5 days, you know, just to be totally, completely safe, $100, and I'll be done for a while. And, you know, because if you hit a losing streak, you can handle a losing streak, but you need to be able to, like, be reasonable on winning streaks, and just, DFS is always a grinding game. I want everyone to be aware of that and just be safe with your money, you know, how you play, and play with appropriate amounts. You know, you can play for just $5, I mean, each day, and that's okay. You know, you can put $4 on literally $4 in two 50-50 contests, which would pay $760, and then you can put $1 in a single entry GPP and still have a chance to win $1,500 right at the top if somehow your lineup was perfect. I would obviously choose something a little bit different than what I show because there's a lot of people that put in this stuff, but you guys understand what I'm saying. You can give yourself upside and still play with a cash game and still build your balance up over time in a smart, responsible way. I have a video about that on this channel too. Alright, that's it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel. It helps support it, you know what I mean? I really need subscriptions to keep on doing these free videos for you guys. And other than that, go on out there and go win some big money today, guys.